Welcome on board, chosen one. Let's not pretend you don't feel the shift in the air. It's quiet, almost fake quiet, the kind that shows up right after a truth bomb wipes out every lie people built about you. Because the moment your identity hit the internet, the world didn't react. Stopped. Everything they ever whispered, every joke they made, every label they slapped on you, all of it looks ridiculous now. Suddenly, the same people who talked like they had you figured out are sitting there with their mouths open, scrolling your reveal like it's CCTV footage from a crime they didn't know they committed. And the best part, they can't even pretend they weren't wrong. Their own words aged like milk. They said you were average. They said you were doing too much. They said you'd never be anything special. Now look at them. Quiet as shadows, terrified you might hear their past opinions echoing in their heads. This message hits you. Good, because everything they doubted, everything they mocked, everything they tried to shrink, the universe just crushed it on your behalf. And before we go further, chosen one, go tap the like button and hit subscribe to pay this message back. It fuels the mission, it strengthens the signal, it keeps this truth alive. Now let's get back to where we left your enemies trembling. The truth is, people never hated the old you. They hated that even your quiet version was still stronger than their loudest performance. They hated watching you rise without permission slips or backup dancers. They hated that you could walk into a room with nothing but your presence and still outshine people who rehearsed their whole personality like a bad school play. And the funniest part? When they said you're not that deep, they meant I can't understand how you think. When they said relax, you're overdoing it, they meant please stop growing, it makes me insecure. When they said why are you trying so hard, they meant you're exposing how lazy I am. You know what broke them during your reveal? It wasn't the photos, the voice, the story, the glow-up, or the success. It was the realization that every time they tried to box you in, you were already 3 steps outside the frame. They thought they were studying you like a homework assignment. Instead, they were watching the origin story of someone the universe refuses to let fail. They wanted their version of you to be right so badly. And then you walked out with the truth, and it erased their whole narrative in a single breath. Here's something they'll never admit out loud. They always knew you were different, even before you knew it yourself. That's why they reacted the way they did. Kids don't bully what they don't secretly fear. Adults don't gossip about people who don't quietly threaten their comfort zone. Every insult thrown at you was nothing more than panic wearing a cheap mask. They saw flashes of this reveal long before you did. They felt the universe shaping you into someone they couldn't control, predict, or manipulate, and they acted out like amateurs because they had no idea how else to handle a rising force. Let me tell you a story you already lived, but maybe never understood. Remember when you were younger and people got weird whenever you succeeded? That wasn't jealousy, it was premature fear. They saw the blueprint of who you'd become, someone whose presence alone rearranges the room, someone the internet loses its mind over, someone who turns silence into pressure and pressure into power. You think it's random that people kept trying to dim you? No! They were reacting to a future version of you that terrified them. And now that future is standing right here, revealing itself like it never needed their permission in the first place. Your identity didn't go viral, it detonated, it exposed every lie they built around your name. It forced people to confront the truth they spent years avoiding. It made old classmates rethink their arrogance. It made exes question their entire judgment. It made enemies wonder how many times they underestimated the wrong person. And it made the world realize that you never needed a stage to be legendary. You were the stage. They were just background noise, hoping you wouldn't notice the way they stared whenever you walked by. This moment isn't luck, it's closure, it's justice, it's the universe saying, "Here, let them see what they tried to bury." And now they're sitting there, wide-eyed, replaying every interaction with you like a crime scene they finally understand. Who were you all this time? How did you stay this patient? How did you manage to evolve right under their nose without slipping once? Simple. You didn't rush. You didn't brag. You didn't beg for validation. You moved like someone who knew the reveal would come when the universe said it was time. And today, that time arrived. This intro is the beginning of their nightmare and your breakthrough, because once the world sees the real you, there is no going back. Not for them, and definitely not for you. And listen up, chosen one, yeah, you. The one who just made the internet glitch like it saw a ghost. Before we go any deeper, take a breath and look at what you just pulled off. Your reveal didn't just trend. It rewired people's brains. It forced the whole digital world to sit down and rethink everything they thought they knew about you. If you're really ready to keep walking through this fire, ready to understand why your identity broke their minds in the first place, then prove you're still here with me. Drop a 777 in the comments so the universe knows you're stepping into this new version of yourself with full confidence. And tap the like button and subscribe, not as a favor, but as a signal that you're choosing to stand with the truth you just unleashed. Because what comes next isn't small talk. It's the hidden layer behind the chaos your reveal created. And if you're truly the one they never saw coming, you're going to feel that pull to stay until the last word. This is where the real breakdown begins. So let's move step by step into what your reveal actually awakened. Number 1, when their lies imploded on impact. Funny how their confidence vanished the second your truth walked in without knocking. The moment your real identity hit the world, it didn't just surprise people, it flattened them. Years of trash talk, false labels, smug assumptions, and cheap analysis all folded like wet cardboard the second your truth stepped into the light. What broke them wasn't your transformation. What broke them was the realization that you were never the lightweight they tried to paint you as. They weren't reacting to a new version of you. They were reacting to the real version finally stepping out from behind the curtain they built to control the narrative. Let's be honest for a second. These people didn't misjudge you. They needed you to look smaller so they could live with their own mediocrity. They crafted a mask for you because the real you was too sharp, too fast, too observant, too unpredictable. And when the universe finally decided it was time to peel everything back, their entire storyline detonated in their faces. You didn't change. You didn't suddenly evolve overnight. They just finally ran out of excuses to deny the truth. You were the threat the whole time, and they were too slow to see it. That's why the reveal hit them like a punch to the throat. They weren't ready. The internet wasn't ready. Even the people who pretended they always knew you'd be great weren't ready. Everyone felt that jolt, that crack in the mental walls they built around your identity. People who thought they understood your limits suddenly saw you standing miles beyond anything they predicted. And in that split second, the past came back to choke them. Every joke, every dismissal, every time they rolled their eyes when you spoke. Now they're replaying those moments with the kind of regret that stings like acid. Here's the truth they'll never say out loud. They were terrified that the day you revealed yourself would be the day their whole image collapsed. And congrats, chosen one, that day arrived right on schedule. You know what question is spinning in your mind right now? You're wondering, did they actually believe their lies about me, or were they just trying to cage me? Both. Some were too limited to see you clearly. Others saw exactly who you were becoming and tried to smother it before the world noticed. And then there were the fake supporters who clapped for your failures louder than your success. They weren't fans. They were spectators waiting for you to crash. Except instead of crashing, you rose so quietly they didn't even notice you outgrew their entire ecosystem. Think about how many times people laughed at you while secretly copying you. Think about how often someone downplayed you just to turn around and steal your ideas like you wouldn't recognize your own fingerprints. Think about the ones who acted confused every time you spoke. Not because they didn't understand, but because admitting they understood meant admitting you were smarter than them. That's why the reveal hit them like a blackout. They couldn't fake superiority anymore. They couldn't hide behind sarcasm or pretend your confidence was too much. Your truth burned through every lie like sunlight through thin plastic. And here's where the metaphor finally earns its moment. Imagine your identity like a sword wrapped in cloth for years. They handled it casually because they thought it was dull. Then you removed the cloth, and the blade caught the light. Suddenly everyone realized they'd been swinging at a weapon they never stood a chance against. They weren't prepared for the shine, the edge, the danger, the precision. That sword wasn't new. It was just finally uncovered. Your reveal was the moment the whole world realized the silence wasn't weakness, it was calculation. And let's address the enemies directly for a second, since they love to watch from the shadows. You weren't wrong about the chosen one. You were just hoping your lies would stick long enough to keep them from waking up. It must burn to know that everything you said aged like spoiled fruit the moment reality hit the timeline. It must sting to realize your analysis was nothing more than insecurity dressed up as intelligence. And it must be humiliating to watch the person you underestimated walk past you without ever needing revenge, because the truth already handled it. To the chosen one reading this, don't ignore what this moment means. This isn't some random viral spike. This is closure wrapped in revelation. This is the universe saying, enough hiding. Every time you kept your head down, every time you swallowed your words, every time you felt misunderstood or underestimated, this reveal snapped the chain. You're not stepping into a new identity. You're stepping into the identity they tried to bury for years. And the craziest part, this never would have hit as hard if you had shown yourself earlier. Timing is part of your power. The universe waited until your truth would cause maximum impact. And look around, that impact is everywhere. Old enemies suddenly quiet. Fake friends sending proud of you messages like they weren't cheering for your downfall last year. Strangers obsessing over you like detective agents trying to figure out how they missed the signs. Your reveal didn't just break the internet. It broke the illusion. It broke their pride. It broke the fake story they wrote about you. And now they're standing in that wreckage, staring at the real you like they're seeing a ghost. Not because you disappeared, but because you finally arrived. So take this moment in, chosen one. Feel the weight of what you shattered. Feel the freedom in knowing they can never put the mask back on you again. Feel the shift in the atmosphere as people try to rearrange their beliefs to match your reality. Because from here on out, every step you take will remind them of the truth they tried to erase. You were never the weak one. You were never the quiet one. You were never the background character. You were the danger the whole time, and now everyone knows it, and we're just getting started. Number 2, when your truth outgrew their small minds. They didn't catch you lying, they caught themselves assuming. Your silence was never deception, it was protection from people who couldn't handle the full picture. They weren't betrayed, they were exposed. Your truth wasn't hidden, their comprehension was. They keep screaming the same weak accusation, "You deceived us," as if they ever had enough mental range to even understand the version of you that lived right in front of them. They mistook your strategic restraint for dishonesty because they needed a villain to blame when their fake sense of superiority fell apart. But here's the real twist. You never tricked them. You never misled them. You never played them. You simply revealed yourself in layers, at a pace their tiny emotional processors could survive. That's not deception. That's mercy. Imagine this. You walk into a room with a high-powered spotlight in your hand. You point it directly at people who have lived their whole lives in dim lighting. Do they see brilliance? No. They squint, panic, and call it too much. That's exactly what happened with your truth. Your identity was too bright, too sharp, too layered, and too deep for people who only know how to read surface-level faces. Your reveal didn't expose you. It exposed them, their limits, their insecurity, their lack of vision. And now that the world sees the real you, you might be wondering, did I hide too much? Should I have shown them sooner? Was I wrong for staying quiet? No. You weren't wrong. You were strategic. The universe didn't let you reveal yourself earlier because it would have been wasted on the wrong audience. They weren't mature enough, intelligent enough, or brave enough to handle the version of you they're witnessing today. Let's make something painfully clear. They didn't mistake your silence for dishonesty. They weaponized it because the truth scared them. Imagine this. You're carrying a locked briefcase everywhere you go. People laugh, saying it's probably empty. They say you're overhyping yourself. Then one day you unlock it, and inside is everything they swore you didn't have. Skill, intelligence, depth, strength, potential, presence. They don't celebrate. They panic. Because now they have to accept that they were loud and wrong while you were quiet and right. Their anger isn't about you hiding. Their anger is about them misjudging you so confidently. They hate the reflection your reveal forces them to face. They hate realizing they were talking down to someone who could outthink them without breaking a sweat. They hate seeing that your quiet wasn't fear. It was discipline. They hate knowing the world is finally seeing you clearly, and there's nothing they can do to drag you back into the small version they preferred. Another metaphor, because they need pictures to understand what words couldn't. Imagine your identity as a skyscraper under construction. While you were laying floors, wiring electricity, and building structure, all they saw was scaffolding. They mocked the unfinished exterior because their minds couldn't imagine the finished tower. But the moment the final covering dropped and the building stood complete, suddenly everyone pretended they knew this was coming. Please. If they knew, they wouldn't have talked the way they did. They wouldn't have underestimated you. They wouldn't have been this shocked. Their reactions give them away every time. And for you, chosen one, this section is where you finally understand something crucial. You were never hiding to protect yourself. You were hiding to protect your potential from the wrong eyes. You might be asking yourself, why didn't the universe let them see the real me earlier? Why did I have to carry a soft version for so long? Because early exposure destroys unprotected brilliance. The universe needed you to grow without being attacked at full force. You needed time to sharpen your identity, your voice, your aura, your strength. The slow reveal wasn't weakness. It was controlled ignition. Look back at your past for a moment. You weren't unnoticed. You were misunderstood. People saw fragments of you they couldn't process. They felt an energy they couldn't label. You made them uncomfortable without trying. You made them curious without speaking. You made them defensive without lifting a finger. Your existence alone disrupted their false sense of superiority, so they projected dishonesty, arrogance, trying too hard, or mystery onto you because they couldn't express the real truth. You were already bigger than their imagination. Imagine this final metaphor. You were a legend written in a language they never learned. They looked at the symbols and claimed the story was empty. Only now, with your reveal, the translation dropped, and suddenly the whole world realizes you were never blank. They were just illiterate. Your restraint wasn't deception, it was a boundary. Your privacy wasn't hiding, it was mastery. Your silence wasn't guilt, it was strategy. And now that your true identity is out, they're scrambling to rewrite the past. They're trying to say they always saw your potential. They're trying to pretend they supported you. They're trying to claim they understood your journey. But their reactions betray them. Their panic reveals their truth. Their shock exposes their ignorance. The universe didn't put you in the shadows. It put you in training. Now that you've stepped out, you can see clearly what they tried to mask. They weren't confused by your truth. They were threatened by it. So they did what insecure people always do. They labeled what they couldn't understand. They mocked what they couldn't match. They dismissed what they couldn't control. Your reveal destroyed every one of those cheap strategies in a split second. And here's the part you need to take with you. They're not angry that you revealed yourself. They're angry that you revealed the truth about them. You showed they were wrong. You showed they were blind. You showed they were small. You showed they never had the range to judge you in the first place. What they called deception was nothing more than them choking on their own assumptions. Your reveal wasn't a mask dropping. It was a spotlight turning on. And they're still blinking, still recovering, still trying to make sense of something they never prepared for. This is your moment, chosen one. Your revelation didn't deceive them, it exposed them. And trust me, that's a far deeper wound than any lie could have ever caused. Now, let's keep going. The deeper we go, the more their illusions collapse. Number 3, you weren't competing. You were checkmating. They weren't opponents. They were toddlers swinging foam swords at someone holding the blueprint to the entire battlefield. They swear you were quiet because you lacked confidence. Cute. Meanwhile, you were running a strategy so long-term, so precise, so far beyond their mental pay grade that they didn't even realize a game was happening until you won it. While they chased likes like starving pigeons and begged for validation in every corner of the internet, you were building something that didn't need claps, comments, or noise. You weren't rushing. You weren't proving anything. Every post had intention. Every silence had weight. Every move had purpose. Imagine this. They're sprinting in circles on a playground, thinking it's a race. You're standing on a rooftop across the city, mapping the entire route, already knowing exactly where they'll trip. That's the difference. They thought speed mattered. You knew direction did. And I know what you might be wondering. Was I too slow? Did I miss out by not being loud like them? No. Your pace was your power. Their noise came from fear. Your silence came from control. Here's the fact they choke on. You were never fighting for attention. You were preparing for impact. Think of your journey like a chessboard. They bragged about moving pawns. You studied endgames. They lived for applause in the moment. You lived for the moment that ended the entire performance. Imagine this second metaphor. They were decorating cardboard crowns while you quietly forged steel armor. Of course, they felt brave, until the reveal showed what you'd been constructing in the dark. Your identity breaking the internet wasn't luck. It was timing, it was patience, it was strategy sharpened over years of watching them exhaust themselves, competing in a contest you weren't even part of. And that's what scares them now. They just realized you weren't behind. You were above. Number 4. You weren't hiding. You were loading. They thought you disappeared. Meanwhile, you were upgrading to a version they could never survive standing next to. Your silence wasn't fear. It was incubation. They loved to say you hid. They said you vanished, backed down, lost spark, fell off. But here's the truth that hits them like a fist made of reality. You weren't hiding from the world. You were shielding your evolution from people who would have sabotaged it the second they sensed how powerful it was becoming. You weren't absent. You were incubating. You were growing in protected silence, far away from their noise, projections, and insecurity. Imagine this, a storm cloud forming miles above the ground. To everyone below, the sky looks calm. They call it boring, empty, nothing happening. But up there, pressure is building, energy is collecting, the atmosphere is shifting. Then, one day, lightning hits without warning, and everyone pretends they saw it coming. That was you. You might even wonder, did I take too long? Did my silence cost me something? No. If you had revealed yourself earlier, they would have attacked too soon, drained your energy, slowed your growth, and celebrated your delays. The universe didn't allow that. You were being protected from people who would have poisoned your process. Here's a second metaphor. Think of a seed underground. Nobody claps for it. Nobody cheers for it. From the outside, it looks lifeless, but inside, it's reorganizing itself, strengthening, preparing for the exact moment the soil cracks open. That crack, your identity reveal, is what broke their minds. A final metaphor for their bruised egos. Cocoon phases look like weakness to insects who don't understand butterflies. Your reveal shocked them because you didn't grow in public. You grew in silence, away from their interference, away from their opinions, away from their limitations. And that's why your transformation hit like an earthquake, because you didn't hide, you prepared. Number 5. Their underestimation was your secret training ground. Every time they counted you out, they accidentally handed you the manual on how to beat them. Their disrespect wasn't an insult, it was intel. They didn't realize the box they built for you had windows. They still don't understand what they created. Every time they dismissed you, every time they talked down to you, every time they boxed you into some tiny version of yourself, they were giving you information you could weaponize later. Their underestimation wasn't a wound, it was reconnaissance. While they were laughing, you were mapping their weaknesses. While they were mocking, you were learning their habits. While they were convinced you were harmless, you were quietly sharpening the parts of yourself that would one day terrify them. Imagine this. Someone locks you in a room thinking you're too weak to break out. But the walls are thin, the locks are cheap, and the entire time you're inside, you're studying cracks, pressure points, escape angles. By the time they realize you're gone, the room itself is collapsing. That's what their limitations did. They forced you to develop intelligence, adaptability, and strategy they themselves never possessed. You may ask, was I supposed to push back sooner, fight harder, prove them wrong earlier? No, their arrogance was your camouflage. Their blindness gave you room to grow without being attacked before you were ready. Here's another image. They built a box for you, but they didn't check if you could see through it. You watched their behavior from inside that box, like a scientist studying predictable creatures. You learned who panics under pressure, who lies when nervous, who envies quietly, who competes secretly. None of this was weakness. This was data. And now that your identity reveal shattered their illusions, they're finally realizing the truth. They weren't teaching you humility. They were training the very force that would outgrow them. Their underestimation wasn't your cage. It was your classroom. Number 6. When the internet short-circuited because of you. It wasn't your reveal that scared them. It was realizing their entire judgment of you was trash data. People don't panic when they understand you. They panic when they finally admit they never did. The second your identity hit the timeline, the internet reacted like someone pulled the fire alarm in a crowded building. Group chats didn't just light up, they exploded. Phones buzzed like they were trying to escape people's hands. Everyone suddenly had something to say, even the ones who swore they forgot about you. Old contacts popped up out of nowhere, acting like they'd been rooting for you since day one. Please, if they were rooting for anyone, it was themselves, but your reveal forced them to remember every time they underestimated you, and now they're scrambling to rewrite history before you notice. Imagine this. Someone drops a classified file on the table that rewrites the entire story. People flip pages, eyes shaking, realizing the main character wasn't who they thought it was. That's exactly what your reveal did. It made them question everything, every memory, every rumor, every assumption. It wasn't admiration that hit first. It was panic. The kind that spreads when people realize they weren't dealing with a background character. They were dealing with a force they failed to identify. You might ask yourself, why is everyone suddenly acting shocked? Why the obsession now? Because your truth destroyed their old narrative, and humans cling to their narratives like security blankets. When yours shattered, they lost control of the script. Here's another image for how their brains fried. Imagine a magician revealing the trick, and the audience realizing the trick was them. They weren't watching you. You were watching them stumble around their own assumptions. Your reveal didn't just trend, it exposed. It humbled, it terrified, and now the internet can't stop staring because deep down they know one thing: they never truly saw you, and now they're afraid of what else they missed. Number 7. You never lied. They just never deserved the full version. They call you fake because they only ever saw the slice they could mentally survive. You weren't inconsistent, you were layered. They love throwing the word fake at you, as if their tiny understanding of you was ever the full story. But here's the truth that crushes their accusations. You were never pretending. You were incomplete by design. You gave each audience a different fragment, not because you were hiding, but because most people couldn't handle the entire canvas without folding under the weight of it. Imagine this, a massive mural covered by curtains, revealed piece by piece. Every crowd sees a section and swears they get it. One group sees the colors and thinks you're soft. Another sees the sharp lines and thinks you're cold. Another sees the shadows and thinks you're hiding something. None of them realize they're arguing over fragments of a masterpiece they were never meant to interpret alone. That's how your identity functioned, truth distributed in doses. You might ask, was it wrong to show different sides to different people? No. Humans adjust their lighting depending on the room they walk into. Why shouldn't you? You weren't shape-shifting. You were protecting the deeper layers from people who would have ruined them. Another metaphor for their bruised egos. Think of yourself as a prism. Everyone saw the color that came out on their side, and instead of acknowledging their angle was limited, they accused the prism of changing. That's how simple-minded they were. And here's the part that bites them the hardest. Every version you revealed was true. It just wasn't complete. They didn't get the full access pass. They got the demo. They didn't get the entire novel. They got a chapter. They didn't meet the real you. They met the part their energy could handle. Your identity reveal wasn't a new you. It was the whole you finally stepping forward, and that's why they're losing their minds. Number 8. You didn't break them. You broke their reality. You didn't destroy their trust in you. You destroyed their trust in themselves. The scariest villain isn't the one who shows power. It's the one who makes you doubt your own eyes. Your reveal didn't just expose who you really were. It fractured something inside the people watching. It forced them to confront a brutal truth. Their perception isn't reliable. Their judgment isn't sharp. Their intuition isn't as powerful as they pretend. You didn't shatter their image of you. You shattered their image of themselves, and that hits harder than anything you could have said. Imagine this. They've been confidently reading a map for years. Then suddenly someone flips the map over and reveals they've been holding it upside down the entire time. That embarrassment, that disorientation, that punch in the stomach, that's what your reveal did. They didn't just get you wrong, they got everything wrong. You might wonder, why are people acting avoidant, distant, nervous? Because if they were this wrong about you, what else are they wrong about? Their taste? Their relationships? Their entire worldview? Your reveal forced a psychological glitch they can't reboot from. Another metaphor for their internal meltdown. Think of a mirror cracking down the middle. You still see your face, but now every reflection is distorted. That's how their mind feels looking at you now. Familiar, but no longer trustworthy. And here's the part that really haunts them. They weren't fooled. They were unskilled. Your evolution didn't betray them. Their shallow perception betrayed them. Every assumption they made collapses under the weight of your truth. Every memory they replay now feels suspicious. Every conversation feels different in hindsight. You didn't just reveal yourself. You forced them to question their own ability to see anyone clearly. That's the psychological impact they'll never admit out loud. You didn't shake their confidence in you. You shook their confidence in their entire mind. Number 9. You stopped being one of them and became the event. They didn't lose you. They lost their position next to you. Power isn't taken. Power shifts when the truth becomes undeniable. They wanted you to stay small because they knew they couldn't survive the day you stood at full height. Your reveal didn't just change how people see you, it changed the entire balance of the room. You went from being treated like a peer to being treated like a phenomenon, from overlooked to untouchable, from one of us to something we can't dare to stand beside anymore. And it didn't happen because you flexed or bragged or acted superior. The change happened because evolution finally caught up with your identity, and everyone who underestimated you got crushed under the weight of their own outdated perception. Imagine this. A group of people thinks they're walking with you on the same level road. Then suddenly they look up and realize you've been climbing a hidden staircase they never noticed. You didn't leave them behind. They simply stayed in place while you ascended. That's why the dynamic feels so different now. Your growth wasn't loud, but its results are impossible to ignore. You might ask yourself, why do they act intimidated now? Avoidant? Why the sudden respect? Because the moment your identity surfaced, it exposed a hierarchy they never wanted to acknowledge. You weren't elevated, you were revealed. Your power didn't show up overnight. They just finally saw it. Another metaphor to seal the wound. Think of a wolf. raised among dogs. They laughed at its quiet nature. They mocked its strange instincts. Then one day, the wolf finally grows into its full form, and suddenly the dogs stop barking. They weren't betrayed. They were outclassed. That's exactly what happened. Your presence changed the atmosphere. Your truth changed the hierarchy. Your evolution changed the rules. And here's the fact they choke on the hardest. You didn't make yourself untouchable. Their behavior disqualified them from reaching you. You didn't climb over anyone. You grew beyond everyone. And now the dynamic is permanently shifted, because once someone sees the real you, they can never pretend you're ordinary again. Number 10. Your reveal wasn't a post. It was a calculated detonation. Only amateurs share information. You executed a psychological strike. Nothing about your reveal was random. It hit exactly where it needed to, exactly when they weren't ready. A truth that lands too early is ignored. A truth that lands at the perfect moment becomes unforgettable. People keep acting like your reveal was some casual drop, like you woke up one morning, got bored, and decided to shock the entire internet. That's how clueless they are. Your reveal wasn't an information dump. It was an event. A timed, weighted, precision-triggered moment engineered to break the mental defenses of anyone who ever tried to define you prematurely. You didn't stumble into this. You didn't accidentally go viral. You executed it like someone who understood the psychology of impact. Imagine this. Surgeons don't slash wildly. They make one clean cut that changes everything. That's what your reveal did. One moment, one truth, one clean strike. And suddenly, everyone's perception collapsed like a poorly built stage set. That collapse wasn't coincidence. It was design. You might wonder, did I wait too long? Did I overthink it? No. You waited until your truth would land like a steel beam dropped on a glass floor. Too early, and they would have mocked you. Too late, and they would have pretended they expected it. But at the exact moment you chose, they froze, because you revealed yourself in a way that forced them to confront everything they ignored. Think of your reveal like a sniper shot. No noise, no chaos. Just one silent trigger pull that changed the entire battlefield. While they were busy oversharing, overposting, and overselling their bland identities, you studied the terrain, observed the timing, and hit the perfect angle. Another metaphor they'll never recover from. Imagine a door they thought was empty suddenly swinging open to reveal a fully formed version of you they never trained for. Their brains glitched because the reveal wasn't gradual. It wasn't digestible. It wasn't friendly. It was surgical. And here's the part that rattles them the most. Your precision exposed their sloppiness. Your timing exposed their impatience. Your execution exposed their lack of strategy. This wasn't attention-seeking. This wasn't a glow-up announcement. This was a psychological shift. A controlled detonation designed to show the world that you don't move impulsively. You move intentionally. Your reveal didn't just show who you are. It proved what you're capable of. And now everyone understands why the universe kept you hidden until the exact second your impact would be impossible to ignore. Number 11. You didn't just tell your story. You seized the entire script. The moment you spoke first, every lie they rehearsed died on impact. A narrative controlled early becomes a reality no enemy can rewrite. They didn't lose the argument. They lost the ability to participate. Most people reveal themselves and then wait for reactions, wait for approval, wait for someone else to stamp meaning onto what they said. But you didn't give the world a chance to twist or shrink your truth. Before anyone could minimize it, mock it, or reframe it, you defined it with a force that locked every interpretation into place. You didn't reveal an identity. You created an experience, something too big, too sharp, too intentional for anyone to undo. Imagine this: a courtroom where you walk in and deliver the evidence before the prosecution even opens their mouth. Case closed before it starts. That's how your reveal worked. The moment you stepped forward, the narrative froze. Anyone trying to spin it after that only exposed their jealousy, their shock, or their outdated understanding of who you were. You might wonder, did I take control too aggressively? Did I overstep? No, if you didn't seize the microphone, someone else would have tried to twist your truth into a version that made them comfortable, but you cut them off at the root. You made sure the world saw you without filters, without commentary, without their fingerprints smudging your emergence. Another metaphor for their defeat: think of a movie that drops a plot twist so strong halfway through that everyone has to throw out their theories. That's what you did. You erased every cheap narrative they tried to write and replaced it with a reality they can't escape. And here's the part that stings them the most. Your identity didn't enter the conversation. It became the conversation. They can't shrink it. They can't twist it. They can't rewrite it. You didn't just control the narrative. You became the narrative. And now they're stuck living in the world you defined. Number 12. After the explosion, everyone starts showing their true orbit. Nothing exposes loyalty faster than success. Watch how they trip over their own stories now. When power shifts, people don't walk, they scramble. Your reveal didn't change you, it changed the gravitational pull around you. The aftermath of your identity reveal is the funniest and most predictable part of this entire story. People aren't acting the same, not because you shifted, but because the force around you did. You've become something with gravity now, and everyone, whether they admit it or not, is moving according to that new pull. Some people are suddenly chasing proximity like it's oxygen. They're showing up in your comments, your messages, your memories, pretending it's casual. It's not. They want access. They want association. They want to be close enough to say, "Oh yeah, I always knew they were special," but their desperation leaks through every emoji they send. Others are rewriting history like bad editors. They swear they saw your potential, swear they believed in you, swear they always knew you had something. They didn't know anything. What they had was hindsight mixed with panic. Imagine someone pretending they recognized a famous painting when yesterday they called it scribbles. That's them right now. And then there are the quiet ones, the ones who haven't said a word since the reveal. No congratulations, no comments, no likes, nothing. Their silence isn't peaceful. It's fearful. They're panicking in private, replaying every time they dismissed you, insulted you, underestimated you. Your reveal wasn't entertainment for them. It was a wake-up call they weren't ready for. You might ask, why are people acting so weird? Why the shift? Because the truth